Why does everyone make such a big fuss about turning 30? This is not a big deal.
But as an actress.
Cut to 29, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel so stressed and anxious. Thank you.
Emma Watson's secret is out, and fans can't stop talking. The beloved star, known for fiercely guarding her private life, has been caught in a new whirlwind romance, this time with a dashing Oxford student. Yes, Emma, the global icon of grace and intellect, has been spotted cozying up in a park, and the internet is ablaze. Who is this mystery man? What does this mean for Emma's carefully curated image? Today, we'll reveal everything about this unexpected Oxford love story, plus revisit her past relationships, rumored flings, and the controversies that have followed her. From magical beginnings to real-world heartaches, we're pulling back the curtain on Emma Watson's romantic life like never before. Oxford romance. For years, Emma Watson has worked hard to protect her private life, crafting an image that blends intellect, grace, and fierce independence. But even the most guarded stars can't always keep the world out.
Emma Watson's rumored boyfriend, previously shrouded in secrecy, is reportedly Oxford student.
In early 2024, Emma's carefully maintained privacy cracked, if only for a moment, when she was photographed sharing a quiet afternoon in an Oxford park with a man who instantly set the internet buzzing. The man? Kieran Brown is a 29-year-old Oxford University student. The setting? A peaceful, tree-lined spot far from red carpets and Hollywood glitz. The images that emerged were disarmingly simple. Emma and Kieran strolling hand in hand, stealing glances at each other, sitting side by side on a bench, utterly absorbed in their conversation. For fans used to seeing Emma at premieres or on activist panels, the scene felt refreshingly human and full of questions. Judy, a student from Headington, Oxford, described the scene. "I saw them for like 40 minutes. They were having a general chat and making each other laugh, which was cute," Julie recalled. She explained that she and her friends arrived at the park just after 3:30 p.m. One of her friends went for a swim in the lake. When he came out of the water, that's when they spotted Emma and Kieran nearby. Judy noted how funny it was to see her friend's reaction. He's a huge Harry Potter fan, and the moment he realized it was Emma Watson left him stunned and excited.
Has anyone seen a toad? A boy named Neville's lost one.
No.
Oh, are you doing magic?
Throughout the afternoon, the couple shared a quiet, intimate date. Judy observed them painting each other and enjoying some food together. It was just a really cute date. It looked successful as they were laughing a lot, which was nice to see, she said. Who is Kieran Brown? What drew Emma to him? And what does this new romance reveal about where Emma is in her life right now? Kieran, as it turns out, is a far cry from the high-profile actors and CEOs Emma has been linked to in the past. A fellow academic, Kieran is focused on his studies at one of the world's most prestigious universities. That detail alone sent fans into overdrive, speculating that Emma had finally found someone who shared her passion for knowledge, ideas, and a life beyond the spotlight. In a world where celebrity relationships are often performed for public consumption, this pairing felt different, low-key, genuine, and grounded. Observers described the couple's park encounter as sweetly understated. There were no stylists, no security details, no staged photo ops. Just Emma, dressed casually, at ease in the company of someone who appeared to bring out her warmest, most natural self. The Daily Mail's photos showed the pair looking every bit like a couple in the early bloom of romance, relaxed, unguarded, and quietly happy. The scene was striking not because it was dramatic, but because it wasn't. It was intimate in the truest sense. Two people sharing space and time away from the demands of fame. What makes this romance especially intriguing is the context in which it began. Emma isn't in Oxford by chance. She's enrolled in a part-time master's program in creative writing, returning to the academic world that has long provided her with both comfort and challenge. For years, Emma has spoken about her love of learning and her desire to grow beyond the labels of actress or activist. It's easy to imagine how she and Kieran, both immersed in the intellectual life of Oxford, might have connected. Their shared environment offers something rare for Emma, the chance to build a relationship on common ground, far from the cameras and constant commentary. But to understand how Emma arrived at this point, we need to look back at the relationships that came before. The young loves, the heartbreaks, and the lessons that shaped the woman she is today. And that's where the real story begins. First, love and young fame.
If you have not built a home, if you do not have a husband, if you do not have a baby, and you are turning 30, and you're not in some incredibly secure, stable place in your career.
Emma Watson's journey through love began in the harshest spotlight imaginable, that of a child star growing up before the eyes of the world. As Hermione Granger, she became a household name before she was even a teenager. By the time she reached her late teens, Emma wasn't just famous, she was iconic. And with that fame came a level of scrutiny most young people could never imagine, especially when it came to her personal life. Every friendship was analyzed, every photograph dissected, and every romantic connection blown up into headlines. For Emma, young love was never just about emotion. It was about navigating fame's relentless gaze. Her first significant public relationship came in 2008, when she was linked to rugby player Tom Ducker.
How old were you when you started making those movies?
I was 9.
9 years old. Wow, wow. And beforehand, did you know about the books? Was that a part of your life?
Oh my God, it was a huge part of my life.
It was a huge part of your life.
Yeah.
At just 18 years old, Emma was balancing the final Harry Potter films, university ambitions, and the daunting transition from child star to adult woman. Tom, confident and athletic, seemed to offer a sense of normalcy, a connection to a world outside of show business. But their romance was brief. Reports at the time suggested that Emma chose to end the relationship to focus on her studies and career, a choice that reflected her maturity and determination even at such a young age. The weight of the public eye, combined with the pressures of global fame, made ordinary dating nearly impossible. Soon after, Emma entered a relationship with financier Jay Barrymore. Older than Emma by 7 years, Jay represented something different: stability, experience, and perhaps a kind of refuge from the chaos of celebrity life. They dated from 2008 to 2010, during which time Emma began her studies at Brown University in the United States. But the distance, both physical and emotional, eventually took its toll. Balancing a transatlantic relationship while managing the demands of an Ivy League education and an acting career proved too difficult. When they quietly parted ways, it was without scandal or spectacle, just the quiet acknowledgement that sometimes love can't bridge every gap. As Emma entered her early 20s, the media's fascination with her dating life only intensified. She was linked to George Craig, a model and musician she met during a Burberry campaign. Their shared love of music and fashion seemed like the foundation for something promising. But again, the pressures of their respective careers made lasting connections difficult. A similar story unfolded with Johnny Simmons, her co-star in The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Their chemistry on set reportedly blossomed into a short-lived romance, but conflicting schedules and life paths soon drew them apart. Through these early experiences, a pattern began to emerge. Emma, even in her youth, seemed drawn not to flashy, headline-grabbing flings, but to partners who offered depth, creativity, and kindness. And yet, time and again, the harsh reality of fame intruded. The constant media attention, the challenges of balancing work, school, and personal life, all of it conspired to make lasting relationships elusive. But as she matured, so did her approach to love. And soon, she would begin seeking connections that reflected that growth. Relationships defined not by fame or circumstance, but by substance. The era of privacy. As Emma Watson transitioned from a young starlet to a thoughtful, self-possessed woman, her approach to relationships evolved in profound ways. No longer a teenager navigating the awkward intersection of first love and international stardom, Emma entered a new phase, one marked by intention, privacy, and a search for partners who shared her values. She wasn't interested in the spotlight anymore when it came to romance. She wanted connection, substance, and calm away from the chaos of fame. One of the first relationships that reflected this shift was with William McKnight, a tech entrepreneur who seemed the opposite of Hollywood glitz. They reportedly began dating in 2015, and from the start, Emma kept their romance far from prying eyes. Mac, older and established in his own right, lived a low-key life that complemented Emma's desire for privacy. The two were seen together at concerts, enjoying quiet meals and hiking, always without fanfare, without the choreographed glamour that often accompanies celebrity relationships. For nearly 2 years, they maintained their connection with remarkable discretion. When they eventually parted ways, it was as quietly as they had been together. No headlines, no drama, just two people moving on. That same pattern emerged in Emma's later relationships. In 2018, she was linked to tech CEO Brendan Wallace. Again, the relationship played out largely beyond the media's reach. Paparazzi did capture a few fleeting moments. A kiss in Mexico, a stroll through a city street. But Emma offered no statements, no public confirmations. Her silence spoke volumes. She was setting boundaries, choosing to guard her personal life with care and deliberation. This period also marked a moment of self-reflection for Emma. In a now famous interview, she introduced the world to the term self-partnered. It wasn't a rejection of love, she explained, but a redefinition of it. Being self-partnered meant valuing her relationship with herself above external validation. It meant not measuring her worth by whether or not she had a romantic partner at her side. The phrase resonated deeply with fans, many of whom saw in Emma's words a kind of permission to embrace singlehood as a season of growth rather than a failure to couple up.
I never believed the whole I'm happy single spiel. I was like, this is spiel.
Yeah.
It took me a long time, but I'm very happy.
Yet romance wasn't absent from Emma's life during this time. In 2019, she began dating businessman Leo Robinson. Like her previous partners in this new era, Leo was not part of the entertainment industry. He was described as kind, private, and grounded, qualities that seemed to fit the life Emma was building for herself. The two were spotted together in London, and reports suggested that Emma introduced Leo to her parents, hinting at the seriousness of their bond. But true to form, Emma kept details scarce, and when the relationship ended, it did so away from the public eye. And yet, no matter how carefully she tried to guard her heart, Emma couldn't always escape the controversies and speculations that seemed to follow her. Because when you're Emma Watson, even your silences make headlines. The controversies that followed. No matter how hard Emma Watson tried to build a wall between her private life and the public gaze, controversy had a way of finding its way in. From the earliest days of her career, Emma's relationships, or even just the possibility of relationships, became constant fuel for tabloids, fan blogs, and gossip columns. In some ways, it seemed the world was less interested in who Emma truly was and more fascinated by the image they could create of her. And that image often collided with reality in ways that sparked tension, speculation, and unwanted headlines. One recurring theme was the relentless obsession with Emma's relationship status. Whether she was dating, single, or, as she famously put it, self-partnered, it seemed everyone had an opinion. Every time she was seen with a male friend, rumors would swirl. From co-stars to business acquaintances, no man was safe from being branded Emma's new flame by eager reporters. Even innocent outings would be twisted into narratives of secret dates or hidden romances. The irony wasn't lost on fans. Here was a woman celebrated for her intelligence, activism, and talent. Yet the world couldn't stop focusing on who she might be holding hands with. Emma's choice of partners also drew scrutiny. When she dated older men like Jay Barrymore or Mac Knight, tabloids speculated about power dynamics or questioned whether these relationships were appropriate. When she dated men outside of Hollywood, men who weren't instantly recognizable, some commentators questioned whether they could possibly understand the unique pressures of Emma's life. And when she stepped back from dating entirely, focusing on her studies, activism, or simply herself, she was accused of being aloof or unapproachable. It was a no-win situation. No matter what choices she made, Someone always had something to say. Then there were the false narratives, the invented love triangles, the fabricated engagement rumors, the endless cycle of gossip that tried to box Emma into neat, sellable stories. Time and again, she was linked to men she barely knew or speculated to be on the verge of marriage when she wasn't. Emma herself addressed these rumors with a mix of humor and frustration, once telling an interviewer that even she couldn't keep up with who she was supposedly dating. The truth was often far simpler and far less dramatic than the headlines suggested. Beyond romance, even Emma's decisions about privacy became points of controversy. Some critics argued that by keeping her relationships so private, she was inviting even more speculation. Others claimed that her choice to step back from public relationships was a sign of coldness or detachment, an unfair judgment for a woman simply trying to protect her personal life. Emma, as always, handled it with grace, but the tension between her right to privacy and the public's curiosity remained a defining part of her romantic journey. And now, with this new Oxford romance unfolding, the question is, will this be the relationship where she finally gets to write her own story, free from the noise? That's what makes this chapter so compelling and so full of possibility. What this new romance could mean. Emma Watson's new romance with Kieran Brown feels different, not just to fans, but to anyone who has followed her journey from child star to thoughtful, private woman. After years of carefully guarding her personal life, deflecting rumors, and refusing to play into the media's endless fascination with her relationships, Emma has been seen walking hand in hand with Kieran in broad daylight. There was no attempt to hide, no bodyguards shielding them from view. Just Emma and Kieran, two people enjoying a quiet afternoon in Oxford. And that small act of being seen might be the most telling sign of what this relationship means for Emma. For the first time in a long time, it seems Emma may have found a connection that feels secure enough to share, if only in small glimpses. Kieran Brown, with his academic focus and life outside of the entertainment world, reflects so much of what Emma has sought in recent years. Substance over spectacle, depth over drama. The pair's shared ties to Oxford, a place steeped in history, ideas, and quiet reflection, seem almost symbolic. After all the years of high-profile partners and media storms, Emma appears to be seeking a romance that mirrors the life she has built for herself. Intentional, authentic, and far from the noise of fame. There's something undeniably refreshing about this new chapter. Gone are the whirlwind trips with paparazzi in tow, the red carpet couple moments designed to dazzle. In their place, simple joys, a park stroll, shared laughter, the easy comfort of two people at ease in each other's presence. It's the kind of love story that doesn't demand attention, and that's precisely what makes it so appealing. For Emma, whose entire adult life has been shaped by the struggle to carve out privacy in the public eye, this relationship might finally represent a middle ground. She's not hiding, but she's not performing either. She's just living. Of course, the world will still watch. The photos from that Oxford Park outing have already sparked countless headlines and social media threads. Fans are eager for details, for clues, for any hint about where this romance might lead. Will Kieran be the partner who shares not just Emma's interests but her values? Could this be the relationship where she finds lasting peace? A connection strong enough to thrive even under the weight of public curiosity? These are questions only time will answer. Emma Watson's love life has always been a topic of fascination. But as we've seen, the real story is about much more than romance. It's about a woman who's grown, evolved, and stayed true to herself in a world that rarely allows that. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Emma's relationships and the truth behind her new Oxford romance, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And click on the next video to uncover more untold stories of Hollywood's most guarded stars.